don't know, man. That's so weird. It's just weird. It's
Weird.
he, yeah, I don't even like it's so much weirder.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy right now. Get you a deposit bonus of up to $250. And the final spots of the PME Cup FedEx playoffs draft on Underdog remain. There's only a few left. I think it's 94% full. So if you do want to get in those drafts, go do that right now under the drafts tab on your Underdog app. Plus, if you're looking for football stuff right now in terms of making your own rankings to do your drafts completely free at runthesims.com. So go there, put in your email, and you can have access to the season-long projections if you want the DFS product, the prop sniper, the simulations. Use code Mayo to get 10% off the season pass right now. Geoff Fienberg, I hit 2 in a row. I did not hit one this week, but you did. You, along with everyone else in the world, hit Aaron Rye. I think it's the first time I didn't bet Aaron Rye all year. So congratulations, sir.
Yeah, and it was probably one of the first times I actually bet Aaron Rye. It felt nice. Felt nice to have choke job variance on my side. Rom blew the 4-stroke lead the week before. Feel like a few choke jobs have gone against me. Season hasn't been great. So happy to take it. Happy to take it. Despite literally for 4 straight days, it felt like Aaron Rye was doing his best Colin Morikawa impression. And then when you actually started watching golf on Sunday, which was 2 rounds, hole after hole, bent at the knees in disbelief how a 10-12 footer couldn't drop. And I thought Vincenzi had a great tweet. He said, why couldn't Tommy Fleetwood ever win like that? Like, why couldn't Tommy Fleetwood ever have someone do what Gracerman did and win a golf tournament? But yeah, good. Got a win, needed it. And I'm going to go right back to my golfers who just love breaking my heart this week without hesitation.
So you're going straight to Fleetwood, Finau. I don't know if Bo Hostler qualified or not.
No. Okay, Bo Hostler. There was a moment during the week where I was like, I really wish I did have a secret Bo Hostler bet. Probably haven't had one in like 2 years. For him to score what he scored after shooting 1 round at 60 on that golf course was in its own way like a mini version of a full Keegan in some weird way. I don't know. Crazy, but like, who cares to talk about Bo Hostler? Yeah, I've bet Tommy. I made one other bet, but I'm certainly looking at Finau.
Hey, you can look at all the guys. It's a small field. It's 70 players, and there's no cut, so guys are going to be around most of the weekend. Either way, though, like I was there this weekend, and it was a ton of fun. And I actually kind of bolted back to the hotel room just because it was such a long day on Sunday trying to get in 36 holes. But I had the Kuchar bet. He was up by 3, and then I went out and watched him a little bit, and dude it was like 6 holes in, and the guy was struggling already. It's like, this is not going to go well, and you could just see it coming.
Yeah, I don't know. He was gassed. Chad Ramey, straight gassed. You know, when like have you ever been in that situation, Pat, where someone in your group of buddies like just played great and he wants to go out again? And there's someone like in the group who reluctantly agrees he'll do it despite having like a horrible day. And he's regretting it by the second hole that he had to go out again. That felt like Chad Ramey. But Kuchar just, I don't know. It seemed like he wore down. I'm not even a swing expert. These guys could do things in their swing I wouldn't even notice sometimes. But you could tell he was like off balance and really fast, and in some ways felt like looking at him, it felt like me on the 14th hole when I'm walking. And I'm like, oh, these last few are going to be a struggle. But for him, it was like a whole back 9 because he just played 18. By back 9, it felt like you said the 6th. He just did not seem right at all. And he really played like shit coming home on the on the round 3. Like he missed a 5-footer on the easy par 5, and then he just came home shit, and he was all dead, and he gassed out. Clearly, needed that energy for Monday morning.
But, of course, yeah, when you're the only guy out there and everything is on you. So what do you make of it? Obviously, Cust is very pro Matt Kuchar. I've seen more people come around to his side on this, but if that's actually what his plan was, to, put up a statement, I guess, and be like, how I can't believe they made us play through the dark. They made us play through all this stuff. It cost poor Max Gracerman, and I'm going to make myself the center of attention about it. Why the hell did he try to pick off Aaron Rai in the middle of the fairway on 18? Why just not hit the ball?
I mean, he was probably done. Like his head was probably spinning when he got to 18T. There had been quite a big gap between them for most of the day. Like they walked up to an empty 16th hole and an empty 17th tee. As someone watching it, sort of paying attention and fighting that clock, he probably just got up there and ripped it. He probably was just like, "Oh, I'm done." In the same way where like sometimes you won't even watch your buddies finish on the hole before. Like you're so done with the day, you've already teed off on the next hole. It was a shit move, though. It was a shit move. Billy Horschel noticed. I was worried Billy was gonna react to it in a negative way. But in the way it felt like Kuchar was being I don't want to say bringing down the vibe for Gracerman. Like if he's telling him this is unfair, we shouldn't be playing, you need to slow down. Billy Horschel was doing the complete opposite to get Aaron Rai, helping him get over the line. We always joke that Billy is like the Foss European, European tour guy, Foss Englishman, big Aston Villa fan. And I don't know, that was beautiful to see. It was the complete opposite of how annoying it felt like Kuchar probably was. Kuchar, listen, I know, it's so weird. It really, I don't know, sure, doesn't really fly for me though. It just doesn't. Everyone's sucking it up. You suck it up fucking too.
Well, there was no chance.
It doesn't work for me.
I talked to the head groundskeeper on Saturday, and I was like, Monday finish? He's like, yeah, 100% Monday finish. We're not getting this in. And I guess overnight they decided, hey, we're going to try to squeeze 36 in here. We think we have enough daylight. And it wouldn't have been a problem, but I think it was Saturday. There was more rain overnight all of a sudden because I was going to play on Saturday morning, and there was flash flooding overnight, so all the courses were closed, and they couldn't start at 6:45 a.m. They had to start at 9:30. That 3-hour gap royally fucked them for the Sunday in trying to get it done at a pretty reasonable time. And then when we got to the par 3, the par 5s on the front of the second round on Sunday, there was a huge backup. But it was pretty hilarious, walking around with some of the groups and just seeing the players openly livid at the people in front of them. There was a group with SH Kim and Chan Kim, and they were taking fucking forever. And the guys on the tee and the group behind them, I think it was the Clanton group on Friday or Saturday, whenever it was, and they were just losing their minds the entire time. It was pretty funny. Justin Lauer was yelling at fans. He was so tilted. It was awesome.
The backlog on 6 was a goddamn embarrassment.
How did it happen?
Okay.
I don't understand how it happened.
I'm not really sure either, but it was a goddamn shit show in many respects what happened there. And the pace of play in totality is just disgusting on tour. Another season, it was like a 520 round because on the broadcast, Pat, they had the head chief guy with as the Kuchar Gracerman group was finishing 18 for the Saturday or the round 3. They had the guy on and they made mention this is a 5-hour and 20-minute round. It's just crazy how they can let that. They've let it get so fucking out of hand in the same way they've let a lot of the equipment and all that on a separate debate. They in the other sports are reactionary. And they'll fix things, and if it doesn't work, they'll revert back and they'll say, "Hey, we got it wrong. We're trying to fix it." They do absolutely nothing. And full credit to the PGA Tour when it's due, the people at the Wyndham for actually finishing that thing on Sunday and all that went into it. You were there firsthand to see it, but just the reports and from Thursday, and to have played actual parts of 3 rounds in one day, everyone deserves kudos. I can take shots at the PGA Tour. It's easy. But they clearly deserve kudos, and I will on other things coming up and right now. But they deserve kudos for how they worked, and the ground staff at the Wyndham, like full marks, incredible. They should be applauded for it. But at the same time, they should be like, listen, this is our situation. We are enforcing pace of play today. Suck it the fuck up. The only time we've ever seen it enforced was on like a 12-year-old boy at the Masters. Isn't that great? Like, the only time anyone's ever had the guts to enforce it was on a boy, on a child. It's like, in totality, it is disgusting. It is appalling. And yeah, you get it. There can be backlogs in rulings, but it's a problem that got out of hand, and they're lucky they got in when the final group took a 5-hour and like 20-minute round on the first half of their 36 today. So they gotta, I don't know if they actually care, but
they care, because it's such a cost to the tournament to have the Monday finish. That's why they're trying to squeeze it in. Because it was great. Like, I was right around. Thanks to everyone who came up. It was like a Pat Mayo. There's no Trump rally in the area. It was like a PME rally for a while. Just everyone there, just from people who like worked on the grounds, the tournament director, just apparently big fans of the Pat Mayo experience. So shout out. Thanks everyone for watching. We got
friends at CBS too, and so that's awesome. That's awesome. And I was shocked, Pat, that CBS actually, they knew. For all the things we're talking about now, it was actually like great TV. Despite me turning the TV off when Gracerman eagled out, and then to see people on the internet talking about what's going on the next hole. So I tuned in as he was like greenside making that 8. I like, because I turned it off. I'm like, I'm done. I don't need to watch this guy wearing
the sleeves.
I don't want to say something.
I
don't want to say something like hyper offensive. So we'll just not.
There was two guys wearing it. It was him and Chuck Hoffman.
I'll tell you who wears those sleeves at my club or any place I've seen golfing, and I don't want to copy them.
Is it some old dude, or is it like the young guy?
No, it's just like old women who golf with like an umbrella on their cart.
Are you an umbrella guy? I can see you being an umbrella guy.
I am. Listen, when it gets hot, you know me. I've got my training camp big sun hat that in the golf bag always. Would I be an umbrella guy? I'm a polar bear. So when it gets hot, sometimes I need as much cover as possible. I've never actually walked with an umbrella though, like to prevent sun. If it's like truly too hot, then I'll get in a golf cart. But I've been trying to walk more on any days it's not hot. And my barometer is like, you're just at the club. You see these old people walking. Like, I'm a big guy. Like, I'm not in great shape. I'm not in good shape, but I'm still 40 years old. So you see like people, you're like, they're way worse off than me walking. Like, that almost gives, some motivation to walk. But I don't know what word. CBS stayed on the air till 8 o'clock. Obviously, they didn't have 60 minutes, but I was shocked they didn't take us to an app or send us to Golf Channel, Pat. But they knew in some weird way, like the sick drama that was happening and how much, despite it not having star power and casuals probably not even knowing who Aaron Rye is, it is so compelling to watch. I don't want to say backdoor because Rye really like turned it on late and was consistent all day, but it really is compelling to watch superstars or rookies just throw up on themselves trying to win golf tournaments. And CBS held it out. So I'm shocked they did that.
I wonder if they would have thrown to the CBS Sports app if Gracerman doesn't make the quad, if he's just up by 4. Because all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, what is happening here? And then it brought, because I had Spawn, who ended up coming in 3rd, I think. And he was just kind of in the clubhouse. He's a Tune. I think he did not make birdie on 17. Then he bogeyed 18 to fall back with Spawn. It's like, if everyone's making bogeys coming in here, maybe we could have like a 4-way playoff on the go. I mean, in my mind, that's what was going to happen. But then Rye he hit that hybrid or whatever the fuck he hit out of the bunker on, I want to say it was 14. Maybe it was 18. Forget what it was. He was in the fairway bunker. And
Yeah,
like the
14.
Immelman started to like lip him, like, I can't believe you would do this in this spot, and he just piped it to like 11 feet. It was like, oh my god, like that's the shot of the tournament.
Yeah, he hit some great shots. He couldn't make a putt. Hitsetsune was probably had the best proximity to pin for the full 36 holes on Sunday. He missed more putts than Rye, including that 4-footer that for a moment felt really important on 18.
I sat on 17 most of the week because that was the hole that we had, and it was a fucking fun hole to sit at, just because it was sticking it to 2 feet or triple bogey. It was awesome. And you just did not want to hit the rough on that hole because you had no distance control coming into the green. But I watched him when he came through the first time on Sunday, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty hot out. And his caddy walked up to him, handed him a drink of water while like they were like right before he putted, and like you said, he was the closest to proximity, so 2 other people had to putt in front of him. So he takes a sip of water and moves on his way. He's like, yeah, it's kind of weird. And then I went back and I watched the broadcast finishing everything off later on, and he was doing it before every shot. That is the most mental thing I've ever seen on a golf course.
Yeah, that like blue water bottle.
Yeah, before every shot, he takes a sip of it and hands it back to his caddy.
Yeah. I didn't notice that it was every shot, but seeing it firsthand and seeing it on the broadcast, I guess, makes sense. I look forward. I'll be betting that guy. You give me some numbers on him and some of these shitty fields after the FedEx Cup. That's a guy I think I'm going to take into the swing season, trying to cash. But he's feels like he's going to make you, like he's going to give you like Luke List type torture.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has what?
Yeah.
He finished 6th at the Zozo during the swing last year, and he just came 3rd. Those are his only 2 top 10s of the year.
The guy can flush it. The guy can flush it. I'm trying to think of other takeaways. It was a lot of...
How's your boy Cam Young doing?
Wow. Wow. Pat, I bet I had a 4-man card. It was a late, like Thursday morning before they started, Friday morning before they actually started Cam Young bet. So Cam Young, Sung J M, Kuchar, and Rye. So there's I was all over this thing. There was a point on early in the round 3 where Rye, Kuchar, and Cam Young were the 3 favorites. I was feeling really good. Cam Young, that's crazy. That's crazy. And it's more than the missed putts, because if you actually track it, his course management is insane.
Well, it came down to, I forget what hole it was, the one where he went out of bounds. I think it was on the par 5, and he hit the mud ball, and it was a lot like Brooks at the PGA Championship. Remember when Brooks hit the ball OB way to the left with the mud ball because he was just like slightly in the rough, couldn't do, and that was one of the reasons that there was a lot of delays too. Like lift, clean, and replace is great because you're not hitting mud balls, but at the same time, guys take forever wiping these balls off to put them down. Like they're examining them. It probably adds like 2 minutes to every single shot. But he caught up in the rough, couldn't pick his ball up, hit the mud ball, and it like sliced out of bounds. Then he had to walk back and do it again. Maybe that's actually what caused the jam up at whatever hole that it was. But he was just
was before that.
Was it before that?
Because he's the second last group. He was like
was he
part
actually,
of no. It was way before that.
Was he in the Rye group?
Yeah, he was in the Rye group. He was in the second last group. So the jam up happened way before him. But it is crazy, like watching it, and they're in a jam up, and these guys have their routines and their sports psychology. Like they are unable to play ready golf because they always have to like reset an entire process. And to watch on 6, like Billy Horschel, it's taking forever, the group in front of you, but they don't even start their shtick until it's like fully their turn. And things like you would not, and I know I'm not comparing us to pro golfers, but like in shit that you would absolutely lose your mind about if your buddy like is like playing 0 element of ready golf in some way. Like, dude, do your like they're putting out, like start your fucking shit a little before, but no. So yeah, it's an entire slowdown, but 5.5 like hour rounds are just preposterous.
Tell you who
it's preposterous. These guys shoot 70s. That's like a mid score. Like they don't even hit that many shots, and it takes 5.5 hours.
I find that some of the younger guys actually play much faster. Like Gracerman was playing quick. Like even the hole he made, even the hole he made the 8 on, I still think he played it faster than everyone else. Like the only thing that slowed him down is he wanted to go see where his ball had actually ended up after it went out of bounds and he'd hit the other shot. And Clanton plays fast. He just gets up and he's like, boom, gone. I'm just gonna put this by the hole.
Boom.
And he hits it low, man. Like all these guys have these huge ball
Did you walk
flights.
with him at all?
I walked with him for a little bit. One of the viewers, one of our friends, was doing the scoring for their group. It was Mac Meisner, Luke Clanton, and someone else. Someone who had a real bad go of it. And then he got caught with them. It was Ben. Was it Ben Griffin? No. Ben Griffin was with...
Ben was out a little before them.
Ben was with the SH Kim group. But there was someone else in their group who was just having... it was Jorge Campillo, because he had two Spanish babes walking around every hole with him.
Love that.
Yeah.
Just curious. I would just want to just close my eyes and listen to Luke Clanton hit the golf ball. It's probably incredible. I don't like, though, the only thing... And like if Clanton won, that would have been awesome. And obviously the situation was probably conducive to a lot of like never winners, because it probably just felt like a charity tournament scramble. Like you're just going out again. You're not in order. It almost felt like at some point it kind of felt like a shotgun start in some respects, which is lovely, I guess, for people on site when the rounds turned over on Saturday. But I know they didn't have a choice. I'm happy they finished Sunday. Anytime they don't get a regroup for the final round, like a tournament dies a little. I almost, after that third round, wanted them to swap Griffin and Clanton with guys in their same time slots, just swap them to the front nine.
On the other side of the course. So I'm of two minds of this. You can't do that, because then that would absolutely slow down the entire process. The only two rounds I can ever remember that this happened in, where they didn't regroup and they just kept going throughout the course of the day, turned out to be two of my favorite viewing tournaments. When JB Holmes won at Riv when they played 36 on Sunday, and Thomas and Rory gagged a lead and JB Holmes came out of nowhere. And this one was super compelling. And part of it was that we had the Clanton Rabbit out. He was with them, but he was on the other side of the course, and the guys knew what was going on in front of them because there was three groups in front of them. And then there's this other guy who's chasing them from the other side of the course, but he's, he has 6 holes left or something like that when you have 10 holes left. It was fun to see, I guess from a TV perspective, to think about it. It was, hey, we're seeing the same shots on the same holes over and over, but hey, here's this other guy who's on the other side of the course. It's just something different to watch at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense or not.
I know what you're trying to say, but in reality, it was actually those final groups were the rabbit for Clanton, because he was so close to them that it was I'm watching Kuchar play 5. I'm going to be seeing Clanton playing 5 in 3 holes, if that makes any sense. So by the time Clanton was finishing, it was actually the other guys were his rabbit in terms of the TV coverage, because we were watching them play those holes first. The Clanton finishing holes, and obviously he went balls deep in the morning. He even played some of his round 2, and when you're in the position he's in, I'm an apologist for the bogey finish. He was going balls to the wall, and then once you make that first bogey, you're just okay, 1 hole left, and obviously number 9 got him.
So a few takeaways. I think I've tried to make this point 3 times, and I keep bringing something else up. I had a long flight day yesterday. My mind is still scrambled eggs right now. But not the scrambled eggs they have in the United Lounge or at my hotel, which were absolute dog shit. The bacon, though, top notch. Usually, when you go to these lounges or all-you-can-eat, hotel, not great hotel, mid-size hotel, in the morning, they just have a whole bunch out of there. It's usually microwaved bacon that they put on a stack, and it's tastes like rubber. But I met up with Rick the first day I was there. It's the bacon here is fucking incredible, man. They're making this, they're sizzling it. It's good. Everything else was terrible. They put all their effort into the bacon. But Rick had pointed out to me when I was watching it with him, shout out Rick. I haven't seen Rick I haven't seen Rick since the DFS Open in person. So it's been 4 years. We were talking about that.
That's crazy. I mean, the truth is that's probably the first and only time I've seen a lot of internet friends that I consider friends, because the internet is a weird thing. Shout out to Rick for doing the job. Rick, he's not at every tournament, but fuck it, I'll get it out of my mouth. His question to Jordan Spieth is something every golf fan was wondering, but no one fucking asked the guy. And it takes the DFS guy who's just there, you know, because he loves golf so much and there's a work element like behind the scene, whatever. But I just mean like he's just there. It's like, okay, I'll go to the press conference. Okay, I'll ask like the actual question here. So they're like, he's not a journalist. He doesn't work for Golf Digest or any like preeminent publication. He's Rick Run Good. So shame on everyone in that room for weeks. It's the first guy to get Jordan Spieth to talk about something that we all see happening on TV every fucking week because you make us watch a lot of them.
He pointed out to me that on the green, because they were playing the 36, they had marked off where the hole location is going next, like for the afternoon round. Like there's like a little white dot on the green. So it's just fun to see. And that's part of what took the first round so long, was they would come up and they would look at that putt for the next round before they looked at their putt for the other one. Like their caddies would be like walking it off, like from like where it is, checking out the slope and basically lining up those putts. And then they would go, and they did this on every hole. So I think that was part of it as well. But when I was talking to some of the crew that was there, like some of the tournament directors kind of thing, the biggest thing about the Monday finish, it's very obvious, is like the agronomy people who did a great job this week of making it playable, because I think half the courses in the region were still underwater most of the time. But all those people from all those courses were working the Wyndham to make sure that the fairways were fine, the rough was fine. So they all now have to stay an extra day because Kuchar had to stay an extra day. A lot of the volunteers, like you don't need as many, but you still need to put these people up. The camera crews, you need to put them up an extra night. Like it costs so much goddamn money for this tournament to put people up that extra day. That's why they're trying to squeeze it in, and Kuchar just fucked them.
But why do, like, it's one hole, it's half a hole. Like, you'd think it's like should just be like 8 people.
You'd think so, but it's
like,
but it's not. It's not the full complement. Like they had to have everyone finish because all the holes weren't in play, so it wasn't as much. But still, like if you probably need like 30 people around, like because you still need all the people to take down the grandstands. Like they're not doing that overnight on Sunday where they could kind of like. I remember that Memorial tournament that one year when they were ripping up the sods after the final group? Like, that wasn't happening. Like, there was just a lot going on with, like, even just coordinating volunteers and everything around to make sure that the tournament was still technically a tournament, because you can't have it different for one guy, even though he's finishing on money. It has to be the same. And it just, well, it's not the largest expense, but the reason that they tried to get it on Sunday, because it is still super expensive to go another day. Rerouting flights, booking hotels, everything like that.
Which still makes what happened at the Heritage this year so weird.
They just ran out of daylight.
Like how they weren't a little more proactive with like sending the guys out on that one.
I mean, I think Bileski brings this up every week. He's like, what are they doing? Like, do they just not look at a weather report? There's nothing they could have done this week, honestly. Like, what were they going to do? Play in a monsoon?
They did great.
No.
They did great. And they did perfect. And Kuchar put this weird element and he like went full Kuchar. Such a weird cat. Like such a weird cat.
Like, is he trying to make himself a villain so he gets a LIV contract? That's the only thing I can think of.
I'm not really sure. But even someone posted the old video. It was like Brooks, Rory, and Kuchar, and they're getting awards. And, you know, Rory takes a shot at Kuchar for how cheap he is. Like, there's like a cost benefit analysis to what Kuchar is doing. Like the chance of making the stroke, is that worth like, you know, the public, like, I don't know, the reputation hit in some weird way. And whether your reasoning is like somewhat legitimate after the fact or fair in some like golf standard, 99% of the people who just heard that story, like, don't even care for Kuchar's follow-up. Didn't even hear it. They just heard about it on Sunday night going viral, and now they've just poured gasoline on their Kuchar narrative in their mind. I don't know, man. That's so weird. It's just weird. It's
weird.
Yeah, I don't even like. It's so much weirder. Like, I gotta call these balls and strikes fairly. I gave Cantley a hard time about it at the Heritage for himself, despite everyone else having to come back anyway. This is just like, This takes white van unmarked to a completely new level that I can't even quantify. Truly.
Did you see the GMAC Live story?
Yeah, so he's been doping and they caught him.
He used like Vicks Vapor Rub. He got suspended.
I don't know why Cuss doesn't retweet that. His entire feed, it's a McDonald's retweet. Yesterday, I'm like, why is there a Cleeks are ready for Greenbrier in my feed? Oh, Cuss retweeting. It's a very, I don't know. So what? He self-reported his cheating. Am I supposed to? Do we care even? People are like, you should commend Liv for like calling it out. Oh, the PJ will slap guys for smoking weed. You know, so I don't know. Like Liv gets credit for running a doping program. Who cares?
But again, I think it was just like cold medication that he got busted for.
I don't even understand that.
I don't get it. Like, it's really weird. Like it's something with like methamphetamine in it, but that was like I think that's like the release of the vapor rub. Like if you have congestion or a cold, that or he's doing speedballs on the course, which I don't really understand how that would be.
Is that why in the States, Pat, like when we go to America and you want to buy cold medication, like it's behind lock and key and like you almost have to show ID because there's something in there or something?
I don't know.
The good stuff?
Maybe.
Listen, I feel bad because when I got a cold, like I don't listen to the dosages on the box.
You just chug.
Or when I'm really sick, it's like you get your prescription. Like I'll do an instant double dose. Like let's try to kick this thing's ass first, like with 1 or 2 hard hits, and then we'll get on there whatever the box recommends.
I did play once when I was down there. I ended up going to a place called Bryan Park, which is like a public course. It's in the middle of like a national park, and there's 2 courses there. And it was the day after like all of the rain. It was fucking incredible, man. For like a $50 round. It reminded me of when they go and play that Muni course in Houston. And it's just a really nice course. This was exactly the same. Like it had great visuals, middle of a national park, fantastic condition, and there was literally no one on the course besides us.
That's incredible. Good for you.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm headed to Michigan this weekend for the NASCAR race on Sunday. I'll be getting out Saturday.
Are you doing behind the scenes?
Yeah. So I'll be, I don't know, hopefully I'm excited for it. I'm actually really excited. I've never been to a race before. So any like NASCAR tipsters, hook me your tips. Because when I cross the border, I don't even think I can bet anymore. This regulated bullshit. But also some other places. But yeah, Saturday, gonna go golfing out there in Ann Arbor. A lovely part of the country this time of year. Looking forward to it.
Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Supercharger, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. Everyone who tunes into the Pat Mayo Experience knows from time to time I like to talk to you about some health supplements that I end up taking, and I've been doing Timeline's MitoPure now for about a month. Feel great? And I think you can too. Take 2 soft gels a day for 2 months, and you can see significant improvements in your cellular energy, your muscle strength, and your endurance. That was the big thing. I've been golfing more this summer and lifting less. Yet when I go back to the gym for my once a week, like max lift, I am not really atrophying that much. I'm not losing a ton of muscle, which is absolutely fantastic news for me and my golf game, because if you work out too much, then you get too sore, you get too stiff, you need to retain that flexibility. I'm retaining my muscle mass at the same time, although I'm not working out as much. And it comes in 2 product designs to fit your needs. They're berry powder, which is great to mix into your breakfast, yogurt, or daily smoothie. That's how I've been doing it. I've been eating some strawberries, raspberries, blackberries with a little bit of yogurt, a little bit of protein powder. Then boom, Timeline's Meadow Pure right on top of that. Or they have soft gels for the days where you're just on the run and wanted something to convenient to grab and go. So Timeline is offering 10% off your first order of Meadow Pure right now. So go to timeline.com/Mayo to get that 10% off. All right?
Recap what we're up to. We're doing win total shows starting next week with Jeff, Tim, and Cuss, or Jeff, Tim, and myself. Sorry, I'm not Cussed. He's Cussed. I'm Pat. We're doing our win total shows, AFC, NFC, and then we're into the crux of the season. That's going to be like 23 straight weeks of football coming at you. So again, runthesims.com for free. If you want the projections, if you want all of like the premium products, code Mayo to get yourself that discount. Code Mayo at Underdog as well. Did you happen to check out the pet peeve bracket? Because Cussed is appearing on part 2.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Cust appearing on part 2. Love Pete, love Sia. I don't know. Everything is a pet peeve. Everything is a pet peeve for me. Everything. Like I gotta just sometimes like calm down in my head. Because like things just get rattling me too easily these days.
Was there anything that you heard on that pet peeve show or you saw in the pet peeve bracket that you were like, ooh, like that one's the one?
I agree with everything. Like there was no part where I was like, I don't know, disagreeing. I really enjoy that group. Who's Cuss doing it with?
A friend of mine, comedian Adam Pranica, who I had on a few weeks ago just to talk about podcasting, but now he's on for like a real show. He's pretty good.
All I would say is to like the call over text. Like, you know me personally, Pat, like there's times where like maybe I'll call Pat, but I've never, because like you could be recording, like in our relationship, and in most of my relationships with friends, I'll be like, just let me know when you're free. Like I just want to chat for 5 minutes. That I worry if I were to ever call you, you'd be like, did someone die? Like, what the fuck is going on? He's never like cold called me before.
I mean, yeah, I would. Like, calls are for emergencies at this point, and I will pick it up. Even if I'm doing a show and like, I mean, I guess if I was doing a show with you and you called me, that'd be really fucking weird. But if I was doing a show and you weren't on it and you called me, like I'd take a time out as long as we weren't live. Be like, hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, because I feel like I've established with you that I will always text you before calling. So something must be so fucked up if I'm actually calling. And then it'd probably just be like, you know, just are we doing it at this time or that time?
What time
like,
are we doing it today? Can you get in this bet on Bo Hostler for me?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm all about like, yeah, hit me up when you're in like the car. You know, you got 10 minutes to kill. I don't answer my phone. Like I really don't. There's like 2 people on earth I might pick up a call from. Unless I feel like it's so creepy that they're calling me, something really could be fucked up. But yeah, I don't like taking calls. It's so weird now. Like, I don't know, as an 80s and 90s kid to be like afraid of taking calls.
It's not afraid of taking calls. It's just like, why do I need to talk to you when legitimately everything that you could say could be said in 2 sentences? Are we going to this place? Yes. Okay, I'll see you there. The end. Does that warrant because once you get on the call, because Cust and I will talk about this, we have a friend who still calls people all the time and just wants to blindly chat for like 45 minutes. It's not my fault you do nothing during the course of the day. I don't have 45 minutes to just fucking bullshit with you over nothing. Like, do you need something? It's nothing. He'll ask you the thing like 20 minutes into the conversation. He just wants to bullshit for a while. Like, I don't have time for this.
But I would also, like, if I wanted that, I'd literally be like, I just want to chat some shit. No rush. Call me, like, if you're on the road. Like, call me if you're stuck in traffic later. Like, that would literally be how I would try to get one of my buddies to, like, just give me an ear for 15 minutes about some nonsense.
And it would be fine if you were prepped knowing that this is going to be like a nonsense thing, but since most people abide by texting over calling, when you get the call, you think it's some sort of emergency, so you pick up. Then you have some guy just fucking yammering on the other side of the line.
Yeah, this is true. So that's like the one I like maybe the most, like passionate about, but I don't know, everything is a pet peeve to me these days. I'm like hitting boomer stage in life, clearly.
We did the power ranking show with Vincenzi yesterday. What came out yesterday? We filmed it like a week ago, and I made that Bo Hostler joke at the beginning. And when I arrive in North Carolina, he's just up on the field and almost shot a 59. I was like, oh my god, is he going to win this week? Fortunately, he's Bo Hostler, so that didn't happen.
Fortunately, he's Bo Hostler. That didn't happen. I enjoyed that show, other than I forgot that when you go 25 to 30, that's like 6 guys. 26 to 30 is 5 guys. So I watched back when I really confused the shit out of myself.
Yeah, you
at
were,
the end.
You were just running in loops in your mind.
Yeah, because 25 to 30 is 6 guys, and I didn't name my 25th yet. So I had to get that in there, but then it like crossed a wire, which I'm easily able to cross a wire, and then I really like put my foot in my mouth there, but whatever. I enjoyed that show. Part of me like wanted to make bets this week, like to defend my ranking, but I haven't done that.
Well, let's move.
There is someone though that I might. Sorry.
Let's move to the FedEx St. Jude. First leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Again, the PME Cup is on Underdog right now. You draft for the 3 tournaments, try to survive and advance. $25 per team. You draft 10 guys and against 6 or against 5 other people. So 10 players within the final standings of the FedEx Cup will not be drafted on your teams. Vic Perez gets in. That was the final thing about the Wyndham. No one has a more handsome caddy in the world than Victor Perez. Like the rest of the caddies, I think it was either Fishburne or Hightower. I think it was their dad who was their caddy. Dude was like 81 and fucking struggling in the massive heat. Vic Perez shows up with like Euro chic guy, super jacked. Just he couldn't have been a more Euro looking guy, just outclassing all these other caddies in terms of the fashion. Not wearing a hat, which I very much appreciated. Just, he had to wear big aviators and style his hair. Dude ruled. But this week, Victor Perez gets himself into the field as the very last man. I was very happy to see that. After the run that he had in France, which didn't contribute to this whatsoever, doing it against a big boy field, coming in 4th, almost getting the medal at the Olympics, and playing just well enough to squeeze into the playoffs. And then we get him all next year, too, because he's earned his tour card. But at the top of the standings, it's Scheffler, who is plus 375. So this is the reason that I bet on Scheffler at the Olympics, Jeff. This field is much better than the field at the Olympics. And you lose, 25 cents on the outright odd on Scheffler?
You made a very strong, fair case as to why, comparative to major odds or elevated event odds, that Scheffler odd was fair. And he won. He activated God mode on the back 9.
So,
yeah.
So Scheffler, Xander, Rory, you got plus 375, 8-1, 10-1. Then it's Morikawa at 12. Then there's the gap. So there's the big 4. Then it drops down to the 20s with Ludwig, Cantlay, Fleetwood, Hideki. And then it's Tom Kim and Corey Connors in the 30s, followed by Russell Henley, Sungjae, Finau, Hovland. I never would have thought, Jeff, that Russell Henley would be 35-1 at a FedEx Cup playoff event and Victor Hovland would be 40.
I've got thoughts on both. There's not a chance in hell I would bet Russell Henley. Like, for all the great statistical aspects of Russell Henley, can you remind me of the time he actually mixed in an important tournament? Because maybe I'm forgetting it.
Didn't
like
he,
at least
didn't he just come like 3rd at the Open Championship and 4th at the US Open?
But at the Open he was there in some respects. Was he ever like around at the US Open? Like, this guy's like,
he was, but you also said that like Finau contended at the US Open, which he never had a shot to win, but he came in 3rd.
Okay, no, I don't believe I said Finau contended to win the US Open, because I was very much involved in that US Open because I had a bet on Rory and he gagged. But okay, yeah, I don't know, like near the finish line, I like my losers to like mix harder. Like stats, have them.
Yeah.
All you got from your stats is having to bet Russell Henley at 35-1.
It's a
so
good
stats.
He has to be that because he's been such a good top 10 bet or top 20 bet throughout the course. Yeah, he was 5th at the Open, 7th at the US Open, 10th at Quail Hollow, 4th at Bay Hill, 4th at Sony. He was 6th in this tournament last year. I mean, he comes like top 20 or top 10 every single week, even in these bigger fields. So I guess they have to protect against that number. But I'm with you. Like if I had to bet on one of them win, I'd probably pick Victor in this spot. I'm probably not going to bet either of them. But I mean, what is different about betting Russell Henley at 35 and betting Tommy Fleetwood at 25?
Tommy mixes a lot
And doesn't win. So what's the difference?
Sure, but at least like you're taking it deeper. Tommy is like almost it's like a Xander Schauffele-esque level, like chance in the fight doesn't win. Like obviously Xander has flipped that. But yeah, no, that would be my difference. Is like Tommy actually mixes way more. Maybe that's my perception. And on that note, I bet Tommy yesterday at 33-1. And then over at FanDuel, I hit them in the to win without Scotty, Xander, Rory, 25-1, which I thought was super fair. So those were the bets. That's the bet I made. I baited on Tommy Fleetwood. As for Vic, like I'm sure he could catch hot fire and be great, but he looks like he's just gasping for the finish line. And what place is he even in the FedEx Cup right now?
I think he's 57th. He needs a week here.
Yeah, he needs a bit of a week. Like I know Vic Perez, I saw to make next week out of 70 needs to, I think, finish a solo 8th to get to 50.
So Vic Perez top 10.
Yeah, that might be a nice bet. Vic would, I'm not sure what the exact number of what Vic would need, but I don't even know that he wants to like grind for it. I'm sure if he starts hot fire, he'll feel good. But he needs an off season to fix whatever the fuck he did last off season.
This feels like it should be a more, I mean, we've said this for ages, and I haven't bit the bullet and bet on Morikawa over this time, but I do kind of hold it in the back of my mind that he's going to pull a Vic from last year where he just had this incredible year. The majors didn't really work out despite being around in some of them, and he just wins the FedEx Cup. That seems like the most logical outcome for Collin Morikawa here.
I mean, I guess the difference being like it's small margins. Morikawa finished second at Memorial, Vic won Memorial.
Sure.
That would be the difference.
But Morikawa also played in the final group at the PGA Championship and the Masters.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it was like a lot, like other than the fact that Vic actually like had a win in the season, that you're there at the course in which Morikawa finished second, which was probably the hardest event of the regular PGA Tour schedule of this entire season.
And this
Jack
should
had
be
Memorial
a great course for Morikawa. Like driving accuracy means a ton at this course. Like I would even take a look at someone like Seb Straka. Akshay would be on the list for me as well, just because they have that ball striking skill. There is water everywhere here. That outside of Sawgrass and I guess Le Club National, like guys are going to make some huge numbers. I vividly remember one of the very first times that I wagered on golf having triple digits on Robert Garrigus with a 3-stroke lead on the 72nd hole, only just to watch him hook it left off the 18th tee. And he ended up losing to Lee Westwood in a playoff.
To your Morikawa thing, which I might use to defend other loser selections down the board, even the Tommy one in some respects.
You mean the guy who's like third in the FedEx Cup standings and does have a win this
My
year?
point, no, I want to say something. We have seen guys that have had like great seasons without wins, and we're like, oh, not like choker, because I don't think anyone's really calling Morikawa a choker. He didn't gag a lead. He just never got over a line in many respects, and he didn't play great on a lot of the Sundays early in his run. But we've seen a lot of great seasons without wins come to this first event and win. Like Finau, when he did it, it wasn't Zalatoris was on my tongue there. So yeah, I mean, I don't discount, like Morikawa does seems like a perfect fit. I wonder if he's popular this week or not popular, because it seemed like even the guys that were truly deep in their Morikawa faith, like had to stay in for the Olympics. Are they staying in here at another place that seems perfect? I'd hope some of them are. I know some of them aren't. I don't know. I'd rather, in terms of actually winning, I'm going to pass on more.
So
I don't mind Xander, who just continue. I'm not betting either of them. I don't think Xander or Rory should just be glazed over. I'm not betting them, nor am I betting Scotty. Xander, other than the fourth round at the Olympics, is pretty much seems like he shoots 5 under every round of golf he plays.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, this would be a good Ludwig win as well. He kind of fits the mold of everything you just talked about of guys that didn't win all year but had great years. And then they come here and it's like, oh, of course, this is the spot.
I mean, in that next tier, Ludwig, I've looked at, he's 22. You can get 24 with the enhanced.
Like, I'm surprised you bet on Fleetwood and didn't bet on Ludwig. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I'm still looking at Ludwig. I thought the reason I bet on Fleetwood is because the number that I saw just seemed a lot better. Like, you know, I stare at 365 a lot, and they're throwing a 20, and then someone else is throwing a 33, and then I'm getting 25 over there to win without the big boys. You know, Scotty having reactivated God mode. So just in like looking at the board and thinking this is a good number, this is the guy I bet enough anyway. I don't think just Tommy. I think a lot of guys, even guys who did not medal in Paris, who may have been feeling some like season-long fatigue. The money is so much now that they're going to play for. But I think that just going to the Olympics, I think will do wonders for the sporting soul of everyone who got to participate in it. And it'd be like, it's not a hot take to be like someone who went to Paris is going to win this week, but yeah, someone who went to Paris is going to win this week. That's my opinion. Although Cantley is sniffing around. Cantley is sniffing around my thoughts as well. But I'd like to bet Ludwig at the 24-1.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Ludwig than Cantley, both in those 20s. But I don't see anything that dissimilar with the way that they're playing and the way that Sungjae or Tom Kim have been playing at the moment. I get they have different styles of play, but there are other players who have just been around now for 2 months and haven't broken through. It would make all the sense in the world that after everyone piled on Sungjae last week, be like, oh yeah, of course he's the big favorite. He's going to run away with this at a tournament where like 150 guys could win. That no one bets him this week at a course that should be really good for him too. Accuracy, Bermuda greens, just go flag hunting if you're in the fairway. Like that's the Sungjae special.
So in that Sungjae range, that like entire 30 to 40 range, I think is littered with guys who have just been hitting it beautifully. And would you trust them to beat the big guys? Tom Kim, I think, got moved the hardest yesterday, Pat. Like, I'm seeing it as low as 28-1, as high as 33. Yesterday, it was in the 40s, mid-40s. Those seem like lovely numbers. So, yeah, I don't mind Sungjae at 40. I don't think Finau at 40 is that bad.
Billy?
Like, who?
Billy?
I'm not really here for Billy, but I love Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel's a guy who anytime he's contending, even though I didn't bet on him, if I don't have a bet, like I'm cheering for Billy Horschel. I don't know. I just seeing what he did with Aaron Rye. Maybe I'm overblowing it. It was beautiful. I don't even know if you saw it because you were there. But it was just, I don't want to call it. It wasn't like he wasn't the caddy, but in some ways it was just like having a buddy there, like really helping you get across the line, but not giving you like the caddy information vibe, like just strictly there as
he was a vibes coach, just keeping the spirits up. Yeah, I agree.
It was like beautiful to watch. And then you hear the stories about Kuchar bitching at rules officials the entire back nine about the dark. Like it just the disconnect in how the Grayserman and Rye probably played their last 3-4 holes on group vibes, let alone Buddy making an 8, was probably worlds apart. Corey Connors at 35. Maybe people will have like the same Russell Henley bashing that I kind of just gave.
And say, in what world is Connors a better bet than Henley?
Yeah, Connors should be like 50-1.
He should be 75-1. Like what is different? What is the difference between, well, I guess Seb Straka is at 70-1, Wyndham Clark is at 71, and Corey Connors is half their fucking odds. Give your head a shake, pal.
And it's one of those things that I probably am the softest on Corey and ranked him higher than both you and Matt when we did our show. But, you know, like at times you choose your own adventure. Like, am I betting this guy? Like, winning is hard. And I don't know, this guy's going to finish top 20 every single week. But yeah, I wouldn't want to bet. I'd probably bet him. I'd bet Finau. My second bet though this week, over Corey Connors, I want to say, I bet Matsuyama at 35-1.
Yeah, that's where I was going with this as well. That he's down to 28 right now. I still think that's actually a pretty good number. Like he sort of feels like the divider between. I mean, Cantlay's at 25. You could put him at 40. I'm probably not going to bet him this week. But we have like the consistent 5 guys that we've had all year, with Ludwig dropping a little bit and Morikawa moving up. But Hideki coming off the bronze medal at sort of a avoid the water type course. He lost in that playoff here like 2 years ago. It seems like his game is turning around a little bit right now. When you spoke about all the guys who can knock off the top guys, he's the name.
Yeah, he's probably ahead of all that group. So I've been on Tommy and I've been on Hideki, and I'd like to bet 2 more guys, right between like 25 and 50. That's how I would
Aaron
like
Rai?
to do it.
Lucas Glover just went back to back.
Lucas Glover went back to back. I still cannot believe that. I mean, yeah, you just run it back. I'm just going to take my rye and leave. But if people wanted to reinvest, I can't knock them. I just think now I see rye at 45-1. I would have to bet Sung J M at like 40 ahead of Aaron Rye. I was one of those people that bet Sung J last week. So I feel okay if I go right back in, and maybe I'm going to make a Sung J or Tony decision, but I actually feel like Sung J might be closer to crossing a line than Tony, who's just playing lovely. Tony will be on the US team, right? He's played so well this year. He missed last year's team. I think he's going to get himself back on it.
Really?
But you don't think so? You think there's 12 better than him?
I mean, I don't know if there's
I
12
overrate
better.
him.
I don't know if 12 is better than him, but I don't know what the fuck he's done this year that you would say, oh man, Tony Finau played himself onto that team. He came like 4th.
I thought he's played pretty statistically. I thought he struck the ball lovely. And to truth be told, Pat, there's a lot of guys like that's maybe a byproduct of the team itself.
He's 7th.
Very few
He's 7th in the standings, but there's the big 6, and it doesn't seem like, unless someone like wins and then has a nice run through the FedEx Cup, that those 6 are not going to be caught. And then like the next 5 guys are all within like 200 points of each other. It's Finau, Henley, Homa, Harmon, Akshay, Kirk, Sam Burns, and Eric Cole. Eric Cole's way back. So it's Burns, Kirk, Bhatia, Harmon, Homa, Henley, Finau for 6 spots, and there's 7 guys.
It'll there's a lot to play out, and this whole FedEx Cup thing, right? It's double points, so there's a lot to fluctuate through that.
Wait, does that work the same as President's Cup? It's double points?
I'm not
It's,
sure.
It's quadruple FedEx Cup points, but I don't know what it is for the other stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. These events will be important, though. I think they will matter. Furyk's the captain. I feel like Finau was the only American who played well for Furyk in Paris. So, but yeah, you're right. Maybe it's not a lot. I don't think this time when we were discussing Finau a year ago, I said it was a lock, but a year ago, like in February, March, April, I was like, Finau's a lock to make the Ryder Cup team, in my opinion. He clearly was horrible and didn't deserve it, nor did he make it. But I don't know. People might be betting Justin Thomas this week, Pat.
Yeah, he's played well at this course in the past, and if he's right off the tee, then you hope he can putt middling in the field. And he was the one who took down our Brooks bet here that year, wasn't he? If I remember properly. And I don't think he made anything the entire week, yet still won. He was that good tee to green. But outside of him, like I'm looking at Ludwig and Hideki. I can get them for less than the cost of one Morikawa, then I'm probably going to end up doing that. Other than that, I'd probably just scroll down. Listen, Hovland, Rye, Horschel, Justin Thomas, they're good players and everything. I don't see them that dissimilar from like Shane Lowry at 60. And I mentioned Wyndham Clark and Seb Straka. I like Straka this week. I like Bhatia this week. I don't mind Ben Ann. Like, these are the guys that I would probably end up going to in this spot. Even Keegan Bradley fits this, like, the mold of this course really well. And he's at 110 to 1. I could kind of see that going. I'd want the placement points on them. And I probably have to take the shot on Tom Hoagie at 120 to 1. Just because I've been betting that idiot all year, that if Rye wins and Hoagie win in back-to-back weeks and I'm not on either of them, it's going to be a sad scene for me.
Yeah. And Straka, I mean, a lot of like waterlog, tough courses.
Hey, Straka lost in the playoff to Zalatoris. I think people forget that.
So there have been a lot of playoffs here, because wasn't Cantley in one with Glover last year?
Was it the playoff? Because I remember, was it Answer beat Burns and Matsuyama, or Burns beat Answer and Matsuyama? I think that's what it was a few years ago.
And, so a couple names, though, here for me. I'm not betting him, but it seems like Wyndham's been really Jekyll and Hyde, right? In some respects, or am I just like taking the Olympics and the slow start and the battle back? Maybe I don't know, maybe he's starting to show a bit of life that could be worth doing. I'm not betting it. Sam Burns is a guy.
You fucking love Sam Burns. You love him. You think that like he should be the captain, like player captain of the President's Cup team for the USA.
I like him probably more than some other people. I think I ranked him higher than anyone in our show, but he would be a guy getting around this 50 number. The Gala potentially. So yeah, the Gala or Burns would be two guys who I'm maybe going to consider betting. But I've bet Hideki, Tommy, and I think I'm betting Ludwig. So if I bet another guy, it's probably might even be further down.
So Thigala, I can get behind. I actually like him a lot. His approach game has been up and down, but it's been that way all year. And he's coming off the bad 3M, so maybe he'll flip it back, because he's only had one instance of a tournament this year where he's lost strokes back-to-back weeks, and that was at Riv going into Bay Hill, and he still came top 10 at Bay Hill. So we know that even if he doesn't have his best up, he can get it going around. So I might be in on you with the Gala. Davis Thompson was actually the other one that I was looking at. Just continues to play good. And if you look back, like, Straka is a John Deere winner. He lost in the playoff here last year. Lucas Glover won the John Deere the year before that. He obviously won this tournament a year ago. Davis Thompson just won the John Deere. Maybe there's something between these places for like all the lower end guys that they do well at that tournament, they can win this one.
Davis Thompson, seeing it as high as 80 to 1. He's a guy that I identified. I'd like to try to make some money on this week, maybe in a placings market. He's hitting it so lovely. They showed him he missed a really short putt to end his Saturday on 18. He was just so upset. He missed a few short putts. He's capable of doing that.
Hey, those were hard greens.
They seem to be acknowledging that a bit on the broadcast.
I watched Ryan Moore in front of me 3-putt from 2 feet, and I was like, oh no. He was pissed. Oh, two more fun things. I watched Ben Taylor take a drop and just like did not want to wait for a rules official. He just took the drop from the grandstand and then made the worst shot I think I don't know what he was thinking. He was short-sided above the hill on 17 with the pin just below him. And the move is, like, everyone else did it. They just played it like a little like bump to the top of the hill and just let it filter down. He tried to flop it into the hole and went off the green by 40 feet. Like, it was just a horrible shot. That, and I did find out that no one likes Brian Harmon on tour. No one. He's the most hated guy out there. Him and his caddy, just jerks.
Yeah. I mean, that makes me feel good as someone that's just like a Brian Harmon hater, but I don't know anything. Like, I'm not inside the ropes. I just like vibes, aura, putter the size of a kitchen table, like the whole works.
Yeah.
It was so... One of my favorite days of the entire golf calendar this year was the day he had to hand back his claret jug.
But just talking with, I talked to a few players after the round, just like catching up with a few guys that I know, and even talking to some of the volunteers, just like, yeah, Brian Harmon's the worst.
That's who you,
And like openly talking about it. Like usually, like if you didn't like someone, you just wouldn't say it. But like people are just very willing to offer up that information to people.
yeah. And honestly, sometimes, and listen, life is real, and you have no idea what guys are dealing with, and you have no idea what sort of phone call they just might have gotten, or whatever is going on. But you speak to some of those guys who like work the locker rooms at these pro events, and you can learn a lot. I had a buddy who was part of the locker room over at Hamilton this year, the players' locker room. He's like Cam Young, like the guy just always walking around surly. Did not see him crack a single smile for like 6 days. Like the guy is just, I don't know, his vibes.
He is also way smaller than I thought he's my size. I thought he was, I don't want to say a giant, but I assumed he was like 6'2". He's not. He's like 5'9".
Who would you trust him to beat, like in a duel?
Me?
Or you just like, hey, you get in enough duels, you'll just win one. Right?
I think you get into enough duels, you'll just end up winning one. Like everyone's a gigantic loser until they win. But it's just any time he is near the top of the leaderboard, he's gone. Ejecto mode. Like who has he got? He has had, what, 5 chances to win tournaments this year? He got run down by Peter Malnati. Everyone at this tournament who is like a perpetual gagger. Just it's crazy.
So are we going to look at, like, are we going to come next year and be like, he's got to win that, like,
Amex?
we haven't said he's got a post. Like, we've never been like, he's the guy that's got a post to win. But is that where we're going to be now? Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, we still feel that way about Tommy, don't we? That he just plays that like Sergio. It's funny because we always said the Sergio, his major would come exactly that way, where he'd just post and that would be it. There'd be no pressure on him. Like the pressure on him was to go make birdies to try to catch up. But by the time he finished, it was way too many. And then no one else could catch him. It feels like that's how Tommy or Cam Young, I mean, Cam Young to win a regular PGA Tour event, maybe Tommy as well, but probably in a major in that way. Like when he, at Shinnecock, when Brooks ended up beating him, that was the type of round that you would see Tommy win a major at. But he would just end up winning by 3 because the tournament got really hard after he finished.
Or like the way Fowler won the Players before he really won anything.
Yeah, just go
like
nuclear on 5 holes.
You
It's
go
over.
nuclear fit, you like eclipse, and you're like, holy shit. Like you just posted something when you're like families on their way to the airport because you were done.
I mean, I kind of feel that way about Xander at the Open. Like Xander was just kind of there, then it was over. He just got hot for 5 holes. That was the end of it.
Yeah, well, it was a really hard day. He didn't make a bogey and he birdied the hardest hole on the golf course. So he kind of just created the separation, and none of the other big names were even there to challenge.
Yeah, it's like when we watched Scotty do it at the Masters as well. Like everyone was kind of clustered through 10, like 9 and 10. Then after 11, it's like, oh, Scotty won. It's over.
Yeah, well, they're trying. They know that they know he's so proficient and he executes, and they're trying to play hero ball because they know they've got to, catch him, and they'll make their double. Just like, Ludwig put it in the water, chasing Scotty.
Quick picks and one and done. I think I only have 2 weeks to come back and catch up to you. I think I need 2 winners in the one and done to catch you. Cust is on give up mode. He is out. He statistically cannot even come in second place at this point, even if he hit 2 winners and we all got 0. So he is finished in 3rd place, making no more picks. You had Sung Jae last week, so you're now up by almost a full 3 million. So I do need the winner this week if that's going to happen. But you had the better pick. Who would you like to use?
It's also funny, like Tim won't even give the people like a guy he's custing. He's just not even participating.
Oh, dude, he's on talking about how Hassan Reddick is not actually any good anyway. Didn't even want him on the Jets anyway.
I meant to ask about the private correspondence because he has not tweeted about it. He has not tweeted about it. I didn't want to bug him about it, but I knew he was sending off fire into your guys' group chats about it. I'm certain of it.
Well, I mean, he sent you were on the thing where he sent us the who was it? Was it Phillips on the Dolphins?
Jalen Phillips, who's amazing.
Coming back after 9 months in his Achilles tear. He's just like, why do I have to glad hand this asshole? Rodgers came back in 4 months.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait for football. I'm not feeling great about it, though, at the moment. But
Why isn't that like kind of a good thing for you?
yes,
Like,
Yes, thank you, Pat.
every year that I have known you, you've had this, outside of maybe like one, there's been this glimmer of hope that like, hey, if everything breaks our way, the Chargers could win the Super Bowl. You're at the point with them right now, because every year PFF is gassing them up as like, you know who's secretly actually really good? The Chargers. And then they're not, because they're the fucking Chargers. This is the first year where they're just not expected to be, like, they're not expected to be bad by any means, but no one's like, you know who the dark horse in the AFC is? The Chargers. No one is saying that this year for the first time in a decade. This must feel great that they could make the playoffs and you'd feel like, hey, I'm free rolling here.
Yeah, I'm excited for games. I'm a little nervous. I'll say something that's really embarrassing. I'm not micromanaging. And it's weird to say, what do you mean? Like, you live in Toronto, you're not even a part of the team. You might think you're part of the team. Like, my desire to like need to know every ounce of information and see if like the person, McCoy, Lynn, Staley, is doing a proper job. I'm not like doing that right now. So that like feels good in a sense. Like, I'm not feeling like I need to micromanage in my own brain the situation. That's good. As for the one and done, do you have the list in front of you?
I do. I'm going to take Ludwig because you have used him, so you don't have access. So I'll just blindly take him off the board for you. But I have everyone else in front of me. Who would you like?
I feel like I've used everyone.
Scotty.
So
let's see. Rory.
Yeah, I won.
Xander. Yeah, you have not used Xander. So somehow throughout the course of the year, between me, you, and Cust, I was the only person to use Xander.
Can you just double look that I haven't used Xander?
I'll give it a double look for you. No problem. Yeah, you haven't used him.
Okay, I'll use Xander.
You have used Adam Shank, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some weird tournaments. Okay, I'll use Xander. Good for me.
I shouldn't have let you know that. That's me helping you out. Because I'm not going to come back and win anyway. And if Ludwig wins, you'll be happy anyway. So quick picks for us. I'm going to do Ludwig and Hideki with you. And then I'm circling around Hoagie, Akshay, Straka, Thigala, Thompson. I'll have it in the newsletter. Tambo's not going to be in studio tomorrow. He will be back next week for the BMW, and then we'll record our intro to like DFS strategy for football season. What I think I'm going to do for Wednesday, I'll do the normal like DraftKings and Final Bets and weather type show, but I'm going to do it solo because I'm also going to do the research show mini version as like a collection show because I didn't do the research show this week. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing for Wednesday because I have some things with my children that I have to do on Wednesday morning. So it's going to be tough for me to actually do anything else. So I can plan that out on a Tuesday, release it either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. So please tune into that.
For me, it's going to be, I bet Tommy, I've bet Hideki, Tommy 33, Hideki 35. I'm betting Ludwig. I could be done. Maybe I'd go further down, but I don't trust anyone. And I don't think I'm wrong in this respect, but like, I think it's pretty narrow as who's live here.
Okay. That's kind of the thing with me too. I might end up playing placements. Like, are we going to be super stunned when Scotty goes Scotty and just wins all these tournaments?
Scotty reminds me, like, what he did at the Olympics kind of feels like what happened at the Players. And it was after a bit of a lull from a wins perspective. So I actually think it could go like he's at God mode again, has been activated coming home. For the tour's sake, I think it would be fun. Like if the season ends with a true Sunday Xander Scotty duel for player of the year, that'd be awesome.
It would be.
That'd be awesome. It would almost feel wrong if anyone else wins.
No, there's something really hilarious that could happen here. And it's Scotty and Xander play like kind of poorly the first 2 weeks, but obviously they're still going to be like 1 and 2 or whatever. But Rory wins the first 2 tournaments. Then all of a sudden Rory has like 5 wins on the year and playing for the FedEx Cup for the 4th time against these guys and somehow beats them. People are like, oh my God, Rory, like fuck off, man. Just go win a fucking major. Don't care about this.
He is truly the only high-level player who vouches for the FedEx Cup and its importance because he's won a few of them in the period in which he hasn't won majors. So I feel like that is all part of it. I'm trying to find a future because someone was posting them yesterday, Pat. It was future odds to win this FedEx Cup. And it was just worth noting, like, if you do think, for example, only because I know the number off the top of my head, think like Sam Burns is going to win this week. I know you're going to make fun of me for using that as the example. Would you think it's also smart to bet him to win the FedEx Cup at like 130 to 1, like just a small nibble on any longer shot player you pick winning this week, because where any win puts you going into East Lake?
Not really, no. Scotty and Xander are so far ahead in the FedEx Cup that like you get quadruple points. So I believe that it is 2,000 points if you end up winning. Now, I understand the general sentiment of what you're saying. Like anyone who wins a tournament will go inside probably the top 10 at worst, top 5 probably at best, even if they don't do anything next week. So I do understand what you're talking about with that. But just to catch up to Scotty, like you still have to beat those guys again. You're going to beat them once, then beat them again? That's pretty tough.
No. And, you know, I've said it many times, so don't really need to repeat it, but the FedEx Cup stinks. Golf fans don't care about it, let alone real sports fans who aren't the biggest golf fans. So I got a thing that they should do at the Tour Championship to make it more interesting. Everyone starts at even. Scotty starts 5 back. Ideas guy.
That seems super fair.
I'm usually just a complainer, but that's me being an ideas guy. I know it's a joke, but like God mode's been activated, so hopefully Tommy can finish second this week.
Did you bet him each way? You should probably, probably allocate 15% of your bet on Tommy to Scheffler Fleetwood, like exacta finish at like 60 to 1 or something.
Yeah, you're probably right. Scheffler's gonna win. It's gonna be boring TV.
Hey,
at least be good TV down the stretch. I don't think it will be.
It's really funny because I had this conversation with a few people at the course about like Scotty, the interest around him, how although he's amazing, like it's just not there, despite him being a super exciting player to actually watch when you're watching golf. No one can really figure out what it is that makes him so boring. It's like dude rips off 7 birdies in a row. He chips in from the woods. He basically has the good Spieth game.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It could just be the person, like, I don't know. People hold that, like, I won like majors in a bunch of tournaments and I still drive like my old car. I don't know. People want you to, I'm not really sure why he isn't translating, because it's not like he isn't even emotional, but maybe between the arrest and crying, like real tears of joy getting the gold medal, like maybe the gold medal could be the thing that changes it. But I thought that the arrest would change it, and he was still kind of perceived as boring even after it.
Well, it's weird because I think a lot of it has to do, like, you think about the Netflix series. It's good for Joel Damon because no one knows the fuck Joel Damon is. And they're like, hey, now this guy's a character. I think it's actively hurt Justin Thomas being on that show. And then even having Scheffler come in, we know too much about these guys. I mean, that's across the board in all of sports with social media now. But what made like Jordan and Tiger so good? And I mentioned those guys because Scotty's having like a great Tiger season that he should be thought about like dominance-wise with those guys. But we just see him being like regular Joe. We didn't know it. Turns out we really didn't know anything about Tiger. And what do we really know about Michael? Nothing. We saw him on TV. We saw him in a few commercials. And then it was just like hearsay and mystique. There's no mystique around Scheffler.
I would agree with the letting us in too much hurts. We're probably much better off in having these unknowns and creating our own narratives through the snippets that we get to see them on the golf course or in like these small like social things that we can like read too much into. Right? I mean, like when Dustin Johnson, like social media was around, it was a thing, but it wasn't like fully like what it is now. And Dustin Johnson, despite like being a very boring golfer, showing no personality, even when he lost the biggest tournaments, was an ultimate personality because like we had snippets of this like other layer and rumor or truth or more rumor than truth, but it was enough to be like, we love this guy. Like we love this guy. Then you marry fucking Paulina. I mean, I don't know. It's sort of how I mean, obviously that's got to play worldwide, but you marry Paulina, like in Canada, that shit just fucking plays like so hard.
Well, it's
So hard.
Well,
'Cause
think
that's
about
royalty.
I know that Brooks did the show as well, but there does seem like there is still something mysterious about Brooks in a weird way. Like you see him, you only ever see him essentially at majors at this point, and you're like, oh man, guy's a killer. He's going to show up and play well. Or you see him like drunk out of his mind at a Florida Panthers game. Like, these are the two versions of Brooks that we get.
That is such a great point. You show, majors where you expect him to kill, or you get glimpses into this really fun off the course life. Like, what are we gonna get this fall? Scotty in like a mom hat on the sidelines at a Texas Longhorn game.
Yeah, Scotty leading the prayer circle at a college football game. Like, great dude, but like, oh man, this guy seems like the most boring dude alive.
Yeah, I don't know if the arrest and gold medal like can't get you up, then I don't know that another major will. Like another Masters. Okay, congratulations. Now you got 3.
Yeah, now he's like slightly better, but now he's slightly better Bubba Watson, who's very much in the same vein as Scotty Scheffler in a weird way.
Yeah, in some respects, even like the unorthodox like footwork on the drive that like people now try to resemble, right, and mimic. Yeah, that's in many ways there is a link to Bubba and Scotty.
But Bubba always Bubba always had the fun that he hit the ball so far. That was like, whoa.
Yeah, and the pink driver I think was big play. We've been a long time, but people got mad in the comments last time, and I guess I'll mention it. There's LIV Greenbrier this week. Bryson shot a 58 last time.
Oh yeah, you know what? I totally kind of spaced on that. Like I said, my mind is mush. So thank you for bringing it up. I don't have any like particular thoughts. Like, is this the last one of the year, or is there more after this?
I believe this is the last regular of. I think it's the last regular event. Then they do the team thing in Doral.
Okay.
Excuse me, heartburn.
Do we have odds on this?
Yeah, there's odds. I'm looking at 3. Bryson's like plus 750, plus 8-1. Rom's the favorite.
What's Neiman? Neiman's 8.5. I'll boost that up. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I remember when I bet him to win this tournament on the PGA Tour, and he won.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know how. I don't even remember how Answer played at the Olympics.
He was all right. Then he fell back.
Varner showed up for the first time. There was some. He was on the Asian tour last week.
Sweet. You line
it was all LIV guys at the top of that leaderboard.
It should be all LIV guys at the top of the. It'd be like if the PGA guys played on the fucking Corn Ferry.
Okay, no. Uline won by a touchdown.
It was in England, wasn't it?
Yes, Uline won by a touchdown. Varner came out of retirement to have his first like top 5 in forever. Caleb Surratt was second place.
So now everyone's betting him this week. I'm guessing.
Well, I have 150-1 on him on Bodog, but they literally only let me bet $16.
Really?
Which is weird. And then I did a look. It was like on the weekend. And then I like anyone you wanted to bet, they literally only let you win like $2,400. Like that was, it didn't matter which LIV golfer. When I check my bet maxes, which is a feature I do like of the site, despite others, is they'll always show you what your bet max is, right before you make the bet. Not that I'm a guy who bets bet max on almost anything ever. That'd be pretty weird, and it's not me. But I was just curious why they weren't letting me bet it, and I guess they just posted some early lines, and they didn't want to get like fucking annihilated on a bad LIV line. So that's the bet I have. But I'll bet one of the. I'm betting Bryson or maybe Neiman. I'm going to bet one of those like super elites at the top. Yeah, that isn't John Rahm.
Bryson by 6. He started 58-61 here last year.
But he doesn't win on. This is where he wins on LIV.
He won it to Doral last year during the team championship too, didn't he? Because I remember I had Bubba and the Range Goats, and Bryson beat them.
I have no idea.
So Bryson was 23 under. Mito was second. Cuss killed that poor guy, man. Mito Pereira. Bland was third. This is like the all-cust open here. David Puge, Matthew Wolf. What are Wolf's odds? You know I'm such a slut
Not
for Matthew Wolf.
Not that good, but he should be
28 to 1. Jesus Christ.
You'd think it would be better, but he's kind of, I don't know. He's playing decent. I wouldn't mind him here, but I wouldn't.
He's 20.
I wouldn't be betting him.
He has shorter odds than DJ does.
It's safe to say, like, we could debate, like, had Liv help or hurt John Rahm. John Rahm will figure it out. He'll get used to his new normal. He's going to win a major. He's going to be flirting with Grand Slam before his career is over. Like, I have no doubt. Like, Liv clearly hurt the most. The player like the Mito Pereira.
Yeah, but why does it hurt Mito, but it doesn't hurt Neiman? Because I would say that Ortiz has been helped by Liv. Like, if all those guys on that team, like Ortiz has done really well since he's gone to Liv. Like, he's won a Liv event. He's won an Asian Tour event. Like, he's doing better now than he was on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and listen, it goes both ways with a lot of guys. There's some guys where it's like perfect for it. There's some guys who are still getting used to it. I mean, yeah, I guess there was a point where like we all thought Mito was going like not be some like Aberg level golfer, but like was going to truly be like a pretty solidly consistent PGA Tour golfer before Liv came along. You're right. I don't want to say too much. Some guys it's helped, some guys it's really hurt. Neiman is so good though. Like I never had them in the same block, but I've always overrated Neiman and probably still do when the whole world gets together to golf.
There's a couple guys who are in the drop zone who will have to requalify for Liv next year. Do you know that Bubba Watson is one of them? Either he probably doesn't after he's probably like doctored in or grandfathered in.
But guys that had like just so what happens when your contract is up? Like you're got to get a new. I guess there are a few guys like some contracts got to be ending. Like I think the Hudson Swafford was a 2-year, $20 million deal. Well, so now they can invest that money in the website.
The only guy who's ahead of Hudson Swafford, the only guy behind Hudson Swafford in the Liv standings is Anthony Kim. Even Pat Perez is keeping his card.
What would make like Liv really compelling, although maybe it would just like appeal to our niche audience, like there should be like a match play, like head-to-head matches for like a roster spot or something.
Oh, like the relegation, all the relegation people are put into like an 8-person match play bracket and the winner keeps their card. Yeah, I like that. I'm in.
Yeah, just something like awesome, like a loser leaves town like
they should do that for the FedEx Cup too.
Sure. Yeah,
like the final, like you come 71st through 87th in the standings. Like at East, like it's fucking 30 guys and it takes like 4 hours to do. But maybe also have like run match play with all of those guys and the last spot gets into all the elevated events and gets their card kind of thing. And they get into the Masters. Just add something to it. We've talked about adding something to Eastlake to pump it up for years. And maybe that's what you do. And then you get to showcase some of your own guys anyway.
I mean, I don't like the format. I don't like it. I complain about it. But I suspect next week, like just specifically next week, that Sunday leaderboard is going to be awesome. Like Olympic-esque level name awesome. I'm not saying it's going to have drama like the Olympics because it'll just feel like Liv. It's just really rich fucking guys playing for more fucking money and it actually doesn't mean anything. Like the FedEx Cup in some ways like is Liv. It's lit. Like, and the lack of success the FedEx Cup has as we approach nearly 2 decades in penetrating the sporting landscape in some ways shows me like Liv is always going to have that trouble because sports fans don't care about really rich people playing for like even more money, like an insane amount of money. That just doesn't move the needle. Like I feel like it's been proven that does not move the needle.
I'm with you. So, all right. Yeah, we've gone long here, but yeah, we had a pre-recorded show yesterday. Yeah, I might end up doing my rankings, by the way. I was not going to do football rankings. I might do some this week. I'll put them in the newsletter, maybe on Thursday and do a quick show for it. What do you think?
The rankings for football?
Yeah.
Like our quarterback rankings, our team rankings?
No, like you know how I used to do this thing called fantasy football and then I would rank the players and talk about it?
I'm so embarrassed. Someone asked me for a football thought the other day, and it was like, you may as well ask like my sister because I have no opinion. I've got to micromanage at the moment. Like I don't have any football futures. I'm feeling like really naked for football at the moment, and I can't wait for it. I can't wait.
We got like a month to lose money here before the season starts. It's fine.
Yeah, but yes, fantasy football, that thing you used to do. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking for rankings.
All right,
I'm needing it.
I'll have them out and I'll shoot a short show to go along with it. And then we got bracket stuff. There's a Cuss Corner that I've already filmed with Cuss and Cam that's coming out. We'll do the win total show. We're almost back, baby. I'm trying to come up with my schedule for football this year as well, trying to weed out what works, what doesn't work. Do you think I should keep Sunday Night Live?
I liked it. I know it could be a long day. You've got 2 kids. It like flirts with bedtime. There's like real life implications on like literally abandoning for the entire day. If you thought it brought the numbies, like I really enjoyed it. Win or lose for the Charge, like it really just was. I enjoyed it. It was a nice palate cleanser for the end of my Sundays. I'm like biased, hyper biased, and selfish because the people involved, like I enjoy. And I relate. So I don't know if people want it. I'm in.
I like doing it, obviously. The hardest part is getting the guest, like the third person to do it, because we rotate it every week. That it's super tough.
Yeah, it's a tough time of day for people who've like abandoned their family all day as well. Like, no, that's like the window where like I'm actually gonna like fake be a dad too. But I would think. I could see why it's hard, but I think a lot of people would love to be on it. So what do I know?
Yeah, maybe we'll find. Maybe the key is to add an actual third person to that show instead of rotating every week, or get 3 people and just rotate them through. Like have Raza once a month, Kenny once a month, or whoever it is that we end up doing. Like people that we know that jibe with Cust and I have watched football all day, can talk about it, but actually like have some fun with it too.
Yeah. And I'm being totally selfish because I'm not involved with it. I don't have to be there for it. I am just a viewer. So obviously, like I want it to stay. I respect like the certain challenges both to guests and you that doing it and the gang over there and putting it on. But I am like, I'd be sad to see it go.
All right. Well, that will do it.
Didn't we have a new idea for Custs and the eating thing? I don't want to share that, but I feel like Paul had a good idea. We'll leave that for behind baseball.
Maybe. One thing that I was thinking about doing, because I don't know what to do for like Monday or Tuesday, because we do our show, we record like Tuesday evening. It takes forever to come out because it's a long show. So it comes out either Wednesday morning or very late on Tuesday. Like, what do we do in between? Should we do a weekly golf show on like Monday afternoon?
Yeah, if you want, I'm down. The RSM Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
All right. Well, maybe now that we've done this production meeting on the show, I'll think about that because I do watch every single week during like football. I have it on one of the TVs. Like it's not my main focus, but that's where we get our Shad Tutons of the world.
Yeah. I'm still losing money on it, so we can talk about it.
Yeah. All right, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. You can follow Jeff at GFienberg17. Coming off a winner with Aaron Rye, thanks to Jeff. Coming off an each-way winner with JJ Spawn with me. Not for quite as much money, but hey, a non-losing week is what I hear is a winning week, and winning weeks are always good when it comes to outright golf betting. All my final selections will be in the newsletter, so please go subscribe to that for free. Down in the description, code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy, play in the PME Cup. It's almost full right now. And for those free projections for NFL season, if you want them, runthesims.com, create a free account, and you can go to the season-long projections. If you want the simulations, the prop sniper, the customizable DFS tools, code Mayo will get you 10% off, so please go do that right now, all right? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!